Okay, right now we're going to talk about casting. This is one of the most important parts of filmmaking. You got your script, you finally have it locked down, you have your characters, and what we need to do now is fill those positions and fill what that script needs and what the characters need, and we need to find somebody who will bring those characters to life. So, first thing I want to talk about is headshots, importance of the resumes, actors and their web pages, marking the script for casting, creating the character biography, and don't worry about the mock casting because we're not going to be doing that. But we will talk about the process afterwards. Headshots are pretty important. A lot of times you can tell if somebody is doing a lot of theater or if they're doing a lot of film. Nowadays, people like to do their headshots in a 16 by 9 aspect ratio so you can see what they look like on film. Remember, you don't want somebody's headshot that they took 20 years ago and then they walk in, you're like, this is not the person. That happened to me one time. I had an extra headshot that I didn't realize that I had, and I went to a casting, and I was going to play a father, and I had mixed in one of my headshots from when I was 19 years old, and I said, what is this? And I looked like a total goofball. So I don't want anybody to, don't say that to anybody, but be aware of that, even if you want to be an actor to it at some point. Um, Make sure you have, there's sites out there that you can go to find actors in your area. There's greenroom.com, certain sites like that. You can do a search. Also, you can look at some of the colleges. If there's colleges around you, usually there's a theater department. Watch out for that because sometimes theater actors can be too big for the camera. But you can give them a shot. Sometimes you might have to pick out your best friends and just work with them, maybe using method style, or just get them comfortable enough to be able to play a character. Watch out for that, though. Usually your best friend that's really good at parties, or he's funny with a joke, and everybody likes him. The minute there's 5 people watching and that camera goes on and you say action, a lot of that runs out of people. It just takes off on them. I always call it the juice box, where you put the straw in the juice box and you drink all the juice out. Sometimes the camera does that to people that haven't acted before, and you just got to get them used to the process before you actually start shooting. A theater resume, of course, you're going to see their first information they're going to put on there is all their stage. Like you can see this gentleman, he does musical theater. He did black box theater. Then he did a little bit of film and television. Depending on what you're casting for, you need to make sure if they're got a lot of theater, you definitely need to film them in the casting call. And I always say at least do a close up and do a full body shot because theater actors tend to be bigger because they have to project to an audience, and if they don't understand how to hone that in and get a hold of that, then it can look funny if you put somebody in a close up and their eyebrows are going crazy and they're yelling and or if they're crying and it's fake and you can tell it's fake, it actually becomes comical. And don't laugh. I've been in casting calls where I wanted to laugh, but just pretend like you're sneezing and look down or something if somebody's doing something totally outrageous. I had a guy come in one time to play a sheriff, and he was totally wrong for the part. I mean, I don't know why. He tried, though. He was trying really hard, but some people that were with me when we were casting were actually starting to laugh, and I kind of just said, let's take a break, and I had to tell him I wanted to laugh too, but you got to be professional and don't do that because they're putting their heart and soul out there for you. So, you can do it afterward or whenever you have to, but it's very unprofessional to do it when they're there, and it's hard sometimes. Um, Look at their contact information, their training. I love looking at this. Um, what happens is you can see where they've trained, what they've been doing, what they're good at, and you find something that you can connect with the actor about. Because a lot of times they're walking in, you don't know anything about them. So this is what you have. Make sure you get the headshot before they come in to the audition. You have somebody bring it to you, and then you can study it. So when they come in, you can make them feel comfortable by finding something in their resume. Of course, there's experience. That's enough said. What I like is skills. If you always look, this is what actors do, and this is I always go right to the special skills because if you look on here, he's got Scooby Doo impression. He's got card tricks, yo-yo tricks, juggling, and they'll put some stuff in there that'll just make you laugh. And they do that purposely to see if you looked at their resume. So if this guy walked in right now, I'd say, "I want to see your best Scooby Doo impersonation right now." And you know what that does? That breaks the ice. They're not so nervous anymore because they just kind of did an exercise to calm themselves down by being funny or just being comical. So keep that in mind. It's a good angle to go at. Film resumes are a little bit different. You'll see there's a lot of film, a lot of television, and if you're shooting a film, I'd rather go with somebody like that. But again, there are actors. I started on stage for 10 years before I even was in front of a camera, and it's hard to make that transition, but you can. And there are certain actors. So don't if a theater actor comes in, don't just automatically dismiss them as they're going to be too big or too hokey. Um, Actors have web pages. You can find them. If it's on their resume, go and see them. They work hard to put them together. Make sure you go and check it out. Then you have something to talk about. If there's a reel, make sure you check that out too, because that's a big audition. You might be able to audition without even seeing them, but you also want to meet them because we'll talk about that later about taking direction if they're directable. You can check them out on IMDb, contact information. Now we're going to prepare the sides for casting. What sides is basically a piece of the script that they're going to be auditioning for. So one of the first things we want to do is start marking it for the actor. And the first thing we do is we put the title of the film and who's casting it. Then we're going to go ahead and put who the character is. Then we're going to put a start point and an end point. Sometimes I don't do that. Sometimes I'll put a start point and then I'll see if they want to improvise, if they just keep going. Because normally the rule is if you don't hear cut, don't stop acting. I mean, don't do that. Because they might want you to just keep going, because sometimes gold comes from just letting the scene flow, letting it keep going. When the actors start, they're not remembering lines anymore. They're actually just kind of making it up as they go along, and it's a good tool to use. Some actors don't like it though. And put what scene it is. And now this down at the bottom is a half a page. The reason they're saying half a page there is you'll learn how to line a script. I think you already did, and pre-production, so you understand what that is. And then it just says continued. Character biographies, those are very important. Sometimes actors don't want to see this. I like to write them out if it's my characters, but this is a nice timeline you can use. At any time, you can always stop these podcasts and you can check these out and write it down if you want. And if you can see that's pretty self-explanatory. It can be useful to help fill in the gaps of the character's life prior to the scene, which is good because I like knowing backstory of the characters, and I want them to know if there's a scene going on that what happened beforehand or what they were going through beforehand, so it helps when we rock into a scene. If we get a deeper understanding of the character by character biography, sometimes the writer will write this, sometimes the director will write this. I like the actor to write it. If I start working with an actor, I want to see what they're going to bring first, okay? And here's some important things that you should be looking for. If you're going to write one or you want the actor to write one, these are some things. The character's childhood, the relationship with others. I mean, that's kind of hard, not with everybody, but whoever's in the story. What goals or dreams they have, that's very important. We talked about that with spines, with the transitions, who want obstacle action. That's all important when it comes to this. What motivates the character? That could be what motivates them in their whole life, or what we call, what we call a super objective is what do they want in life, not just what's in the scene. Quirks, hobbies, interests, certain things like that. That really plays a part. It's good if a character, because that can help you with set design. That can help when you're gacking up the apartment for them, or when you're what colors that they use in the rooms. This is all good for the art director and production designer also. preparing the character biography. This is a buddy of mine's film, and he let me use this, um, and this was another actor that was in the show also. And this is, again, you can pause this at any time if you want to read these. That's fine. Um, childhood, and he's going through that timeline we just looked at. Wife, what he did for a living. He went to prison, and it says a lot. And it's not that, it's just a couple paragraphs, but it says a lot about the character, and it helps the actor understand it. I like when the actor writes it, though. But sometimes there's things they need to know about the character that they might not know that the writer put in and that you put in also. There's many ways that you can cast for a project. I'm just going to explain something simple and effective that really works great. And sometimes you're going to be just as nervous as the actor coming in. That's why you don't want to show that. So make sure you're calm when they come in. And like I said, read something off the special skills. Start talking to them. Don't just make it like, okay, start acting, do this now, okay, blah, blah, blah. Don't be robots. Blah, blah, blah. You don't want to do that. You want to make it as personal as possible. And the first read is important for me. I don't give any direction, and what I do is I want to see how the actor has been preparing outside, the casting before they come in. And sometimes they'll have the script for a week. Sometimes they're seeing the script for the first time right when they get to the casting call. So, I just want to see what they're doing. And like I said, make them comfortable. You want the best performance possible. Keep it light at first. Like I said, read the resume and find some good information to start the process. The second read is when I see something in the actor that I like, and at this point I want to see if they're directable. I want to see if I give them a direction, they're not just going to keep doing the same thing over. If they're going to actually make what we call an adjustment. So, and it might be something stupid. It might be something like tie your shoe on this line, or maybe. When it comes to this point, I want you to take your wallet out and slam it on the floor, just so they can accept direction. And if they ask me why, I'll explain it to them. And I like when they ask questions at this point. And then sometimes I'll give them a technical direction, like hitting a mark. A mark is basically a spot. It could be tape, could be used. It could be a T mark, and that's where basically what actors have to hit. On their lines. If there's a spot that they have to hit while they're walking, and then stop on that mark is what I'm looking for. And it's technically can they handle direction. So I think this is good. And the third thing that I use, and you don't have to always do this, but like I said, any monkey in the world can learn dialogue. That's easy. I don't even put that pressure on the actors. I let them, at some point, if they want to, if they're having a hard time at the beginning, I'll say, do you want to improvise this? I mean, do you understand the concept of the scene of where we're going? And have a good actor in there with them. If you don't bring two in at a time, hire an actor or have a buddy come in and read it with them. But make sure to give them, give them a good performance so they can bounce off of it. I used to go into casting calls and they'd have the script supervisor sitting there talking very humdrum, saying, okay, what do we have to eat today? And my line is supposed to be, I love you, baby. You're everything I've ever wanted in my life. And I'm supposed to be upset, but here I have this robot barking at me. And it just doesn't, it's not good. But improv is a great tool. Good possibilities that come out of the actor. You can get some gold when it comes to improvisation. Now, when you're shooting, if you're on the set, I like improv if we have time for it. Or if the actor needs to make an adjustment, that's cool. But usually if you have enough rehearsal time, then you can improv and change the script to where it fits for the actor. And then sometimes it's not. Sometimes you just say the words. Just say what's in the words and find a way to do it, and help them find that way. That's usually when we're directing. By the time we go to shoot, we should already know all this stuff. Okay, so. I hope you got a lot out of this, and I appreciate it, and I hope you find some good actors, and I appreciate you listening, and have a good one, okay?